And now I will stop my comments.
Followed by pound.
The internet is schwach. I'm warning the other masses. I'm calling in to do both. The regular.
There are 14. You are unmuted.
Oh, sorry.
You're muted, Siagu.
Both are muted. Yes, thank you. I'm talking from the phone and the screen is muted. Yeah. Okay, where'd we leave off? What's today? Today's daf is Lamed Gimel, right?
Yes, today's Lamed Gimel.
I think we're Lamed base, like 4 lines up, Taner Rabbanon.
4 lines up, yeah. All right. What did you do here? Okay, Taner Rabbanon, yeah? Nashru, there was something I wanted to say from yesterday's daf. I can't remember now. Okay, if it comes, I'll say it. Okay, 4 lines up at the bottom, Lamed Beis, Lamed Beis, yeah? So Taner Rabbanon. Yeah, so Nashru, Roiv Olav, let's say a majority of the leaves fall off, right? So you have hadasim, right? We're talking about hadasim here. So a majority of the leaves fall off, which Rashi says a majority means, well, since you're supposed to have 3 leaves, so majority is 2. Right? So 2 leaves fall off. The shayr by miyut, and what's left is a miyut. So that seems to be a little bit redundant because if majority falls off, then what's going to be left is a minority, right? Okay. Kosher is still kosher, but it still has to look like a chain. It still has to look a little bit like a chain. So hagu b'kasher, there's an obvious kasha on that. Amrit nashu roiv olav kosher. You said if the majority of the leaves fall off, it's kosher. As long as it still looks like a chain. Since if 2 out of the 3 leaves fall off, how could that look like a chain? Right? It's going to look like 1 leaf. Right? You need at least 3 leaves, maybe more, to look like a chain. But if 2 fall off, you're certainly not going to have a chain. You do find it. Now we're on Talmud Aleph. Ta'asa mitzvah, which means with a hadas, like what we learned yesterday or 2 days ago, that an asa is also hadas. Mitzvah, mitzvah means it's on the boundary. So it has a lot of air to breathe. It has a lot of it doesn't have too much competition, so therefore it's like sort of like a hadas on steroids. Right? The kind of shiva the chad kina. It's talking about where each how do you touch a kin? Each level, I guess. Each level of the hadas has 7 leaves, not 3 leaves, 7 leaves. Again, ba'asa mitzvah, it's on the boundary. The kind of shiva b'chad kina, where it has 7 leaves on each level of leaves. The chinasri arba, so now when a majority falls off, which would be 4, you'll have 3 left. So that's what he's saying. Even though it's a majority of the leaves fell off, since there's 3 left, it looks like a chain and it's still kosher.
But Siago, how's that possible? How's that possible? Where do they all fit if they have to be in the same mitzvos wise? If you don't have pass on the chazanish, where do they fit?
How do they fit 7 coming out of 1 spot?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. You have to ask a botanist. A botanist, is that the right word?
Yeah, I'm just saying, like,
The same way Nebuch and the Laga, 5 Eden was able to share one blanket. That's how.
Okay,
What's the tush though?
Okay, you'll think about it. Maybe you'll be able to figure it out.
I won't think about it. I'll be zeicha not to figure it out.
Okay, so don't.
I'm just saying this is more mashma like the Chazon Ish. That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
Oh, so you want to riot to the Chazon
I'm saying
Ish.
this the Gemara, the mitzvos of this case is more mashma like the Chazon Ish.
I could hear that. That's a good point. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that would mean that it doesn't mamish have to be coming out of the same spot. That's a fair point. Yeah, so very good. So weiter, Amar Rabbi Shmami, no, hi asa mitzvah kosher lo shana. What do we hear from this? That it's kosher for Hashana. Yeah, meaning even though it might not be the regular standard hadas, it's still going to be kosher. So when it says pshita, it's kosher. Why would you think it's not? The same right? We had this a couple times before. Since it also has an additional name to it, it's not just called hadasim. It's called a hadas mitzvah, like a boundary hadas. Maybe it doesn't qualify as a standard hadas. That even though it has an additional name to it, it's still not a problem.
Where do we see in the Torah that you have to have the dasim?
So that's a good kasha. Where in the Torah does it say the word hadas? It doesn't say.
Right. So it has to be the idea of an hadas.
Yeah. So the Gemara later or in the next daf is gonna make mashma teretz for that. So I hope I'll remember when we get to it. Yeah, that's a good question. So Gemara says ve'ema hachanami. Maybe taka, maybe it shouldn't be. Who says it should be good? Gemara says eight avos amar Rahman. The Torah says eight avos, which means mikol makom, from any place. It just says that should come from a tree or leaves that have chains. Yeah, so therefore, therefore it would be okay. So Tosfos actually asks, meaning what would be your havamina, that because it has the shem levai. Before we said that really hirduf, remember at the end of yesterday's daf, we said hirduf really would be kosher, except for the rachel darchei noya. Right, we said hirduf would be okay, but since it has thorns or whatever it is, so Hashem would never make us take something that might hurt us. That's mashma, but that's not called a hadas, and we would have said it's kosher. So why shouldn't this be either? Okay, Tosfos doesn't give a teretz. Okay, let's see that. The Tanur Rabban, Yavshu Roiv Olav, let's say a majority of the leaves dried. V'nisharu v'shloisha badei olin lachin, and is left over 3 stems with that are fresh. Lachin means wet, literally, but it means fresh, so it's kosher. So as long as there's 3 as long as you have 3 hadasim and each hadas has 3 leaves on it, that's going to be enough. It needs to be at the top, right? Can't be on the bottom or even in the middle. The 3 leaves. Let's say your hadasim dried up. Now we're talking about it dried up and it's still the leaves are still on there, right? But your top, as long as your top layer or top level is okay, then it's fresh. Then it's going to be okay. Fine. Niktam Raisha. So if it gets cut off. So this is like a shas sugya here. Niktam Raisha. So if the top of the hadasim get cut off. Tani ula barchinanam niktam Raisha also by timra kosher. So this is interesting where the top of the hadas gets cut off, and some sort of date, some sort of fruit type thing grows in the spot. Yeah. And Rashi says women use it for use this type of thing for their makeup. They use it for But anyway, so the Gemara is saying that if it gets cut off, which is puzzle, and then this thing grows in its place, then it's like it regenerated. Since it regenerated, and now it's back to its natural look, and therefore it's okay. Yeah, so by Rav Yirmiyah had a shaila niktam Rosh Erev Yom Tov, also by Timra by Yom Tov Ma'u. Let's say now what Ula Barchinan has said as a davar pasha that's kosher. Rav Yirmiyah asked that if it got cut off from Erev Yom Tov and then this date type thing grew on Yom Tov Ma'u, yesh dichui as a mitzvos? Do we say dichui by mitzvos or do we not say dichui? Yeah, Gershon and Akiva. This is your sugi right here, right? I think we spent quite a while. Peretz had to knock us down. That I remember with this sugya. But anyway, so yesh dichui b'mitzvos is
meaning the first
really
first one. Ula Bar Chinana is talking about everything happened before Yom Tov.
correct. That's what it seems, right? And Rav Yirmiyah is asking if it happened on Erev Yom Tov and then it grew back on Yom Tov. What's the difference in the case? So the question is like this: by kodshim, yeah. So you've shechted an animal, and then something went wrong with the mizbeach. Let's say the animal's kosher, and something went wrong with the mizbeach. Yeah. So once we say the animal was not right to be brought because there was something wrong with the mizbeach, so then it's done. You have to bring another animal. Right. So the question is, do we say the same thing by the hadas? Since the hadas was possible because it was once cut off, even though something grew back and then it regenerated itself, so right now it's kosher. But do we say that it's dichui, meaning once you're out, you're out? Yeah, that's the Gemara's shaila. So the Gemara says, "V'tifshet leim behadatran." Why don't we try and answer it from this Mishnah, a Mishnah in Chulin that says, so there's a halacha before we do the Mishnah. There's a halacha called kisei adam, which is that anytime you shecht a bird, any sort of fowl, or any wild chaya, not a behema, you have to cover over the blood with dirt. Yeah. So what happens if the dirt, you covered it and then it got uncovered? So do you have to recover it or not? That's one case. And so let's see. It's not kiseo, but it's gala. It's covered. Yeah.
I learned with my son Beya, the first Mishnah, the first shtickle Gemara, and my son literally just asked, "Can you compare it to Kisei Adam in the first Mishnah of Beya? Since you went in without prepared dirt, you can't cover it or not?" And then the next line was this: Kisei Uveniskala, Kisei Adam.
Right. I hear. So it's very good. It's a very good tushtel. Very good tushtel. So aha. I guess the apple's not falling far from the tree. There you go. Right? So yeah, I hear. Okay, so what I'm saying, you're asking that they're somewhere where the shovel was prepared, right? That's what we're talking about. You stuck it into so you're saying, okay, that's really on the next case. Okay, so let's see. So very good. So kiselvin is gala potem melachatas. If you covered it over, and then it got revealed, it's potter. You're potter from meaning it got uncovered. You're potter from recovering. Kiseo haruach. But let's say the wind blew the dirt. Meaning, is the mitzvah on you to cover the blood, or is it just that the blood has to be covered? Yeah. So if it got covered by the dirt, we're gonna say it's fine. You don't have to cover it as long as it got covered. But what happens if the wind covered it and then it got uncovered? Then you're chayav to cover it over. So again, if you covered it, the blood, and then the wind blew off the dirt, then that's not allowed. Then you don't. I'm not allowed. You don't have to recover it. If the wind covered it and the wind then went and uncovered it, then you're mechuyev to recover it. Right? That's only if it went back and it got revealed. But if the wind didn't blow the dirt off the blood, then you'd potter from covering it. They were discussing it. When the wind comes and blows the dirt off of the blood, why do you have to recover it? Since it got pushed off. Meaning you already did the mitzvah. Yeah? So once it's covered, it's covered. So what does our Papa say? There's no such thing as dichui. Right? So therefore, since the mitzvah has to be done, even though you did it already, if the mitzvah comes undone, you have to go back and do the mitzvah properly.
How long does it have to be covered for?
Yeah, so I'm not sure. I don't know. How long you think like once it's covered, right?
That's what I thought you were saying again.
Yeah, no, it's true. But if the wind, there's a special din. If the wind covered it, and the wind uncovers it, then there was no human interaction with it, so therefore you have to recover it. Right?
What
If a
happens
human
if-
covered it. Okay, go ahead.
So a human covered it, and another human came over and uncovered it.
I would think that you don't have to. I can't say for sure. I would think you don't have to, right? Because you did properly. What's the difference if a human did or the wind did it?
Okay.
Yeah. So whatever it is, but the Gemara is saying here that there's ain't dichui etzel mitzvos. So if that's the case, so we should say it here too. And Memela here by us, it's going to be a kula. I mean, you could have yesh dichui, ain't dichui can be a kula and a chumrah. Right? By the kisei adam, it's a chumrah that you have to recover it. But by us, you say, well, it depends. If you say ain't dichui by us, then it would be fine. If you say yesh dichui, then this hadas is no good. If you say ain't dichui, then it's going to be good because right now it's back to being kosher. Yeah, so Gemara is asking, why can't you just learn out from this Gemara by Kisei Adam that this ain't dichui by mitzvahs, and therefore this hadas should be kosher? Yeah, so the Gemara answers, the Rav Papa gupa mi ba'ilei. Right? His question was in Rav Papa's opinion. So Rav Papa said that there's no dichui by mitzvahs. So he was asking, according to Rav Papa, mifshat pashalei dein dichui as a mitzvah. Was Rav Papa 100% sure that there's no dichui by mitzvahs? Loishna lekula v'loishna lechumra. Doesn't make a difference if it's lekula, yeah, which is by the hadas, that the hadas would be kosher, and loishna lechumra, which would be by the kisei adam, that you have to recover it. Maybe he's not sure. Lechumra amrinan. Maybe we say lechumra lekula lo amrinan. Right? And lekula we don't say. It's just like everything else. We're always machmer. And when in doubt, we're machmer. So maybe that's what he wasn't sure about the kula. So teku. So that's taka. We're not sure if Rav Papa is saying across the board ain't dichui, or he's just saying ain't dichui for lechumra, but lekula he wouldn't say it. Meaning by kisei adam he for sure requires you to recover the blood if the wind blew off the blood. But by the hadas maybe he wasn't sure because that's a kula. Maybe the hadas will remain not kosher even though right now it is kosher. And that's a teku, so that's exactly what the shaila was from, who was shaila, was it already? Rav Yirmiyah. I thought that was Rav Yirmiyah's shaila. Okay, so now the Gemara is going to want to say that it's a Machlokes Tanaaim. And then the Gemara is going to end up saying three different pshatim in what this Machlokes Tanaaim is. Yeah, so Lemeka Tanai, let's say this is a Machlokes Tanaaim. Over Velikton, puzzle. If somebody, right, so we said if you have the berries on the hadasim, you're not allowed to take them off on Yom Tov, right? And here we're saying if you were over and you did that, then it's puzzle. But Chacham say it's kosher. So they're having a machlokes whether you took the berries off of the hadasim on Yom Tov, whether that hadas is kosher or not. So Savru the Kuli am a lulav ain't sorach. We were thinking that everybody holds that a lulav is not required to be tied up, meaning you don't have to tie the hadasim and the aravas onto the lulav. And even if you're going to say that it does require eged, lo yafina lulav misukah, we don't learn out lulav from sukkah. Ta'ase by sukkah it says the sukkah has to be made properly kosher. It can't be made not kosher and then made kosher, right? Like we had a few times. And now what would be meaning? What are we referring to here? We're talking about where the hadasim were already tied on to the lulav with the aravas. It was tied on. And then he cut off the berries. So now it's a tasa v'layim also, because meaning if you hold that you have to tie the hadasim and the aravas together, then you have to make sure it's kosher before you tied it on.
But if you didn't have all the meaning together because it was puzzle, you did anything.
Well, but the thing is, if you hold that the Mishnah is the mitzvah is to tie it up. Right? If the mitzvah to tie it up.
So, but when you untied it, you can just retie it with its kosher one. Why would it already be considered?
But you'd have to untie it and you'd have to retie it.
Okay, so why can't you do that?
And a chanami, but the question is it going to be kosher anyway? I know we're talking about on Yom Tov, so you can't really untie it. No. Yeah, that's
I mean, you can't
Right,
like
so that's
slip the
fair.
hadasim out and put the new ones in without untying it.
Can you? I guess. Can you? I guess you could do that. No. Maybe it means you didn't tie it
Shmuel
well enough.
David,
You- you
try
didn't
it.
do that.
Try it. You have enough trouble putting in a hadasim normally. I tried flipping him.
What to do it? Yeah, I hear. Anyway, so okay, I'm not sure, Taka. You could slip it out, but I would think it's not tied on. We're gonna get some more of that sugya on the base of the eged sugya or not, whatever it is. So the Gemara is assuming that right now, when did he take off these berries? Once it was all tied up together, guy's ready to go to shul, and then the berries, and then he realizes it's berries, so he cuts it off. So it's gonna be tully, in which we have three options here. We could say lulav tzarech eged, lulav not tzarech eged. You could also say tasa v'loy min ha'asui because he tied it up before it was really kosher. Or you could also say that it's, or you could say dichui ain't dichui. So the Gemara goes with the first one first. So it's again, like the kuliyama. I'm going back to a few lines. Like the kuliyama loyamrin and yesh. Did I even do that yet? I'm sorry, no. I skipped a few lines. Let's start again. Lemakit hanoi. I went up 3 lines. Lemakit hanoi. Over relikton puzzle. If you were over and you took off the berries on Yom Tov, it's puzzle. Divi Rebbe Elazar ben Sadeh. So what's their machlokes? Everybody holds that lulav does not need to be tied up. And then intim tzalay mitzarach, and even if you say it does need eged, so then maybe it's a tasa v'loy min ha'asui issue. Thanks. Yeah. So lo yalfina, I'll try. I don't think I'll get it. Thank you. Lo yalfina lulav mitzukah. Then we don't learn that lulav from sukkah. Just say but tasa v'loy min ha'asui. So then what's the machlokes? My lab al kamivli. Demand the puzzle. Savar aminu yesh dichui so mitzvos. The one that says it's puzzle says yesh dichui so mitzvos. When you tied up these hadasim to the lulav, they had berries on it, so it's puzzle. So it doesn't help that you cut it off. Once it's puzzle, it's puzzle. Meaning, again, I want to be clear. Had you taken the berries off the hadasim before you tied it up, then it would be okay because it wasn't yet in the mitzvah. Right? Well, it's only a problem because you did it on Yom Tov. And the one that says it's kosher says there's no dichui by mitzvahs. It wasn't kosher before Yom Tov, and now it is kosher, so everything's great. So that's what the Gemara wants. That's one option. So the Gemara says loy. No, the kuli alma loy amrina yesh dichui. Everybody says that we don't say yesh dichui, and therefore it could become kosher, even though it was once puzzle. It can become kosher. Yesh dichui is a mitzvah. Right? B'hacha b'meilaf lulav misukah gamifli. And the whole machlokes is whether we learn out lulav from sukkah by tasa v'loy min ha'asui. Masavar yalfin on lulav misukah. We learn out lulav from sukkah, just like a sukkah has to be built kosher. You can't build it not kosher and then make it kosher. So too, the lulav also has to be built kosher and make it not kosher. Masavar lo yalfin on lulav misukah. Biba Yisema, and the other, that's one way of learning it. Biba Yisema, Eastri Lulav lulav tzarech eged. If we hold that the lulav needs to be tied up, and it's required to be tied up, the kuli alma yalfin on lulav misukah. Everybody holds. You learn out lulav from sukkah. Ba'acha b'lulav tzarech eged kam biflagi. We're having a machlokes whether lulav needs to be tied up or not. We're plugged at ani tanoi, and it's a machlokes. It's in this machlokes the tanya lulav bein agud bein she'ana agud kosher. A lulav, whether it's tied up, whether it's not tied up, it's kosher. If you don't have agud kosher, she'ena agud puzzle. If you don't have it tied up, it's puzzle. My time with Rabbi Yehuda. Why does Rabbi Yehuda hold it's puzzle? The yalav lekicha megudas ezav. You learn it out. Take the word take from the agudas ezav. Agudas ezav is the hyssop, right? The hyssop branches that they use by the Korban Pesach in Mitzrayim to put the blood on the doorway. Says you should take for yourselves on the first day. Just like over there by the hyssop, it had to be a bunch of things. It had to be a bunch of things tied up. Afkan aguda. So to here it has to be aguda. For Rabbanon, less lakicha, and the Rabbanon don't hold of lakicha, and therefore you don't have to have it tied up. Yeah. So how do we pass in the ma'aser? Does the lulav need to be tied up or not? So mantana la detona Rabbanon, and this is the way we pass in lulav mitzvah la igdai. A lulav, it's a mitzvah to tie it up. Bim la igdai kosher, but if you didn't, then it's kosher. So money who's that? Rabbi Yehuda, Ki lo yogeh my kosher. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it's not even kosher. And Rabbanon, my mitzvah covered. If it's a Rabbanon, what kind of mitzvah is there? It's either you have it tied up, you don't have it tied up. The Gemara says, Rabbanon. Really, it's a Rabbanon. It's still a mitzvah to tie it up because to beautify a mitzvah. Right, so really, and this is the way we pass in, that really you don't have to have it tied up, but we do it out the mitzvah. Right? So it would come out with an interesting nafkamina is what happens if, and this does happen, if you hold that you have to tie it up, and you go to the lulav, the esrog store, and you buy your lulav, and you say to the kid, hey, put it all together, tie it up, and make it nice. Right? If you hold that a cotton is potter, if the kid's young enough that he's potter, and you hold that tying it up is a mitzvah, then a cotton, somebody who's potter can't do the mitzvah. So maybe your whole tying up of the lulav is a problem.
You're not tying it when you lift it.
What about he's tying it up 2 days before Sukkot? That you getting the mitzvah on Sukkot?
What do you mean, to tie? You can't. That's the problem. We're going to see on Amud Beis.
No, but I'm saying even if I would tie it, I tie it 2 days before Sukkot. So then I get the mitzvah on Sukkot of that?
Yes. Yeah, you're tying it up before Sukkot, so you get the mitzvah on Sukkot.
I'm not tying it when I lift it.
You're not kind it. Either way, but if you didn't tie it up, you didn't tie it up. Right? If it was tied up as somebody, a woman or a cotton, might be an issue. Right? Which, by the way, so a lot of people, and this happens to me, halfway through Hallel on the first day, my knots are already coming out. I don't know. I don't have any mouth with any sort of these knots. Right? At least the one over the lulav, it's fine, but that's not the one we're talking about. We're talking about the knot that ties together the hadasim and the aravas. So Lamaisa, the place can say that the kosher, right, what we call the kosher, what do you call that in English? I don't even know what you call that in English. I don't think there is an English word.
The holder?
There you go.
The kosher.
Well, the holder you might think is the gun case that the people use, right? No, that's not that. The thing that you put in the hadasim and the aravas to, that's made out of dry lulav things. The holder, I guess, the holder. Right?
The binder.
So that, the place can say, the what?
The binder.
Binder, okay.
You're talking about the one that you hold in your hand?
Yeah.
The thing that goes
The
in
hilt.
your hand, yes. Yeah, the one that Naftali Liner doesn't use.
Yeah, the hilt.
He ties it straight on. He tries it straight on. He ties it straight on. Okay, but
Yep. Like Rabbi Yeager.
Anyway.
Some years.
Yeah. Right. So, but the place can say that if you stick your hadasim and aravas into that, and the lulav goes into that, then that's considered tied up. Even though, yes, it's better to tie a knot around that whole thing, but if you didn't, that thing has the din of being tied up. So then
But you have to tie it before Yom Tov. You can't tie it on Yom Tov.
Yes. It should be a proper knot, correct?
Right, you can't. Right, okay.
No, but the way they do ours is like a slip knot. I'm not so sure that's considered a knot. Right?
You can make the ring and then just tighten the ring that they use.
Right, but right. So
but then you can't cut
out.
it. Right, because you don't cut it right and stick it in.
Yeah.
Do we hold that it has to be made by a gadol? Those things?
No, the right that we hold it's better to do it al zekeli van veyu, but it's not ma'akif. Not ma'akif.
No,
I'm surprised Naftali doesn't do it for you.
Oh, you stole my line. I just didn't want to give him any ideas.
Oh, sorry.
Listen, I was gonna say it myself, but he gave the answer because he doesn't know how to do it because he doesn't use it because Rabbi Yeager doesn't use it. So Mamela, I can't. He's out. What should I tell you?
I tried. I tried.
I'm not saying anything.
You yelled at me about it in the past already. You said it.
I'm not going to say.
Look at that. It must be L.
If a gadol doesn't use it, it's not zekeli van.
If a god, no, that would still be no. Zekeli van is not a. You don't need to do a ma'isa. It's not a Zekeli van just says it should look nice. Then it wouldn't make a difference who does it. It wouldn't make a difference who does it. It's just that it should look nice. Right?
By the way, it's not L.
But
it's not L with Rav Aaron. His wife must be in the room.
Woo! Look at that.
No, he told me once. He said he didn't yell at you because my wife was in the room. Ella would yell at you more.
Okay, whatever it is. Fine. Okay, let's see right. I show you another merubin, right? So if we said if there's more berries than leaves, then it's no good. Somer of Chista, Davar Zer Rabbeinu Hagadol Amru. Our Rabbeinu Hagadol said this. Who that's Rav. Va'amokim Yiyah be'ezroi. And Hashem should help him out. Yeah? Which I don't know exactly what that means. Yeah? Does that mean, is that just a phrase that you use, that, Hashem should help him? Or is that like, that he doesn't agree necessarily with Rav's saying? So like we had that a couple of days ago. I don't remember where was it? That we said that Hashem should be meichel him for saying such a pshat. So I don't know. I don't think that's what this is saying. But okay, whatever it is, he's saying that Rav said over this din, and Hashem should help him. When is it that more berries than leaves is a problem? That's only if it's in one place. But if the berries are in 2 or 3 places over the hadas, meaning you have a little bit on the top, a little bit in the middle, a little bit on the bottom, then that's not a problem. Amrle Rava, so Rava said on Talmud Beis now, to have berries in 2 or 3 places, that's considered spotted. We'll puzzle. And then that's puzzle out a different din that it looks ugly. Right? Yeah, so meaning we know that we're gonna have that by Esther Galah too. Anything spotted doesn't look nice. So it's gonna be puzzle out that. Meaning Rav was saying that it's only a problem if there's many more berries in one place more than the leaves. And he's saying now that, what do you mean, multiple spots is worse because it looks ugly. So it must be that this is a pshat. I show you another merubin olav puzzle. Right, if there's more berries than puzzle, right? He said this in the Makom Shibi. That's only by blackberries. But green berries, minei the hadasu, that's considered part of hadas, kosher, and it's kosher. Meaning, since Rashi says, since it has the same color as the hadas, so therefore it's kosher. Yeah.
What's the issue if it's menorah?
It's just ugly.
Is it
not hidden. Rashi says it's not mahudr. They have berries growing all over your.
Where does it have to say hadar? Hadas has to be hadar. Pre-8 hadar. It doesn't say anything else.
Correct. So then the word, but obviously he's learning that there's going to make the same hekish from lulav to the lulav, from estrug to lulav. We're going to make it for the hadasim and the ravas also. That's what that would be a pashup shot to say that.
So there is the Indian of hadar is a psul. And I asked you yesterday. So there's an Indian of psul if it's not beautiful.
Is the Indian of psul what?
If something is not beautiful when it comes to the arba minim.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
It's
not beautiful.
What do you mean it's a psul? It's a psul?
That's exactly what Rashi says.
Yeah,
no, because Rashi says menorah is lav hadar, and that's puzzle.
That's what I was asking you.
Right, I asked this yesterday also. I was trying to figure out the gabi any of the meaning.
Meaning
the
hadar.
A psul and hiddur is a psul. Yes,
but the Torah only says hiddur by esrog. It doesn't say by anything else.
Right, so then we make a hekesh for that.
Everybody makes the hekesh?
No, it's a machlokes. But clearly this sheet is going with that. Yeah, that's what you have to say. Okay, so let's see. Red is like black, and therefore it's also no good. This blood that's black blood is adaimhu ela shalaka. It's red, but something went wrong with it, so therefore it turned black. So therefore it is red. So that's what we're saying, that red berries is also considered like black, and it's going to be puzzle. That's on the esrog, we're going to say the same thing. Really, black dots are puzzle, right? But red is considered the same thing as black. Yeah.
Why do we need,
again? So I just, yeah. What do you say?
why do we need this then by hadasim? The red is black. If it's not green, it should be puzzle. Green blend in, everything else doesn't.
So I wonder because maybe it's considered, maybe red would be considered more natural to it.
What about brown? You're going to say the same as Maris?
It's the same. This is Gemara Nida. This comes from Maris.
Right.
That's the big question. Which one? Brown would be fine. Brown would be fine, but if it's not, then it's a problem. Yeah. Okay, but anyways, but the point that we have to take out from this, and it's going to come up a lot in Esrog, is that anything that's natural to the four minim is going to be kosher. Even if it's a natural color to the min, then it's okay. Even though it might not look normal to us. So if berries are supposed to grow on the hadas, then that's going to be fine. Yeah, it's going to be fine because that's natural to the hadas. Meaning a black dot that grows on a esrog, and it's a normal looking thing, then it's going to be kosher. It's only if it's not normal to be there. Right? Okay, well, we'll see that by esrog. Fine. And miyas on kosher. If you made them less, then it's kosher. Right? Even though we saw it in Machlokes, but our Mishnah says if you took off the berries, it's going to be kosher. When did you take off these berries? Now this gets into what the sugi we were discussing on Amud Aleph. Again, you have to take the hadasim and the arabas and tie it to the lulav. That's part of the, well, it's going to depend if that's part of the mitzvah. But let's say you tied it all together, and right, you tied it all together, and then you took off the berries. Right, or the opposite. So the Gemara is going to go through both options. When did you take off the berries? If you say you took it off before you put it on pshita, the pasha is kosher. What's the problem? You took off the berries before it was even part of the mitzvah. Right? It must be after you already tied it together. So dichui me'ikaro, that would be dichui me'ikaro. That because it was puzzle at one point, meaning when you tied it up to the lulav, it was puzzle because it had berries on it. Then you went and cut off the berries. So now getting back to the sugi that we discussed in the first Amud, on Amud Aleph tonight, that's a dichui me'ikara. Tifshamina dichui me'ikara lo yahavi dichui. That even though it was pushed off and it was puzzle, it doesn't remain puzzle forever. It could become rekosher by you fixing it. The Gemara says no, lo ilam basa da'agde. Really, it's talking about after you tied it, because savar eged has mana ba'almu. Tying it together does not make the mitzvah. That's just like making a mezumah. That's just preparing it for the mitzvah. As mana ba'alma lav klumhu, and stam being maznin things, that's nothing. Right? Meaning it has to first be in a situation where it's in the mitzvah, and then it's puzzle. But if it's never in the mitzvah yet, then that's not called puzzle. So meaning it only if it's at night of Yom Tov, the berries are on there, then you have the problem, which is what we had on Amud Aleph. But if you tied it on, let's say Erev Yom Tov in the morning, you tied up your hadasim and arabas, then somebody to the lulav, and then somebody comes and says to you, hey, there's berries on there. Then you cut it off. So he says that's not considered that the mitzvah was already done because it wasn't yet sukkah. If you cut it off after it was already sukkah, then it's a problem. Right?
Well, I don't understand.
Yeah.
If you hold in, there's no Indian of there's no Indian of to wrap it up. Yesh agad, there's an Indian of doing aguda. So then why would this passel it? It's dichui. You're not putting anything together. There's nothing going on here. If there's no mitzvah to be ma'agid, then what are you doing here exactly in terms of passeling it? There's nothing to it. Why is that the fact you gathered them together? It's a nothing. You're doing
hasmana for the mitzvah. You're preparing.
So why would that passel it? Even I understand that, but the Gemara in the Havim it says basar de la'agde. Is that going according to the man yama the yesh? There's a mitzvah of aged.
Yes.
If you hold there's no Indian of Eged, would it passel it?
No, if you hold- No, if you go.
That's not what the Gemara said before. The Gemara in the Amud Aleph said even if you don't hold there's an Indian of Yesh Eged mitzvah, there's an Indian of psul out dichui. If you wrap them together, we're gonna passel.
Right, but this is going according to Mandam holds that if you need to tie it up. But we're saying that
I'm
that's
saying
tying
the
up.
Gemara in the Amud Aleph said even if you don't go according to Aman Yamer, it'll passel it out to Yesh dichui. I mean, ain't dichui. Yesh dichui.
No, we're saying. No, meaning you can't prove from here that dichui meikar is not dichui, because you could see.
I understand that. I'm asking out the psul of if there's no Indian of Eged, if there's no mitzvah of Eged, why should dichui passel it?
I think this whole thing is going according to the Mandam that says that needs egg.
It's not. It was not mashma like that in the Amud Aleph. It's mashma dichui passel no matter what there.
Those were the two studim of the Gemara. Those were the two studim.
But the Gemara said even on the side that there's no Indian of Eged, we would passel it out to dichui.
Right.
How could that be possible? What's the egg? What's parceling it? There's no aguda. If there's no Indian of aguda, why would dichui parcel it?
But if you cut it off on Yom Tov,
yeah,
then it would. You cut off
why?
on Yom Tov.
If you don't, according to Man Yom, there's no Indian of Eged. There's no mitzvah Eged. Why would that parcel it? You're not doing anything.
Because
Ma'aseh Kaif Ba'alma.
No, it's not a Ma'aseh Kaif Ba'alma because
why?
Right
there's
now
no Indian of aguda.
Your Hadas was puzzle on Yom Tov.
Your Hadas is with there is no aguda. It's next to lulav. Who cares? If you hold there's no mitzvah aguda, why should your Hadas being next to lulav puzzle it?
What do you mean? Right now, my Hadas is puzzle on Yom Tov. It's puzzle.
Fine. Are you saying out Hadas being puzzle? But what does that have to do with the lulav puzzling it? Why should
it doesn't
that
have anything to do.
Oh, you're saying stam. Once your Hadas is puzzle on Yom Tov, then stam, and nothing to do with that good.
Yeah, that's what I think. I don't know. I'm not sure, but that's what I think. That Hadas is a puzzle Hadas. Right? I think so, but I'm not confident.
I don't know. Rashi doesn't say it that way, but I hear you. I'm not sure. Rashi says
it could be you're right. It could be you're right. I hear what you're saying. That's what I think, but I'm not sure. I have to think about that.
Rashi says,
so let's see.
Okay, I don't know. I'm not out if he says because you're arguing with psul, even though there's no agudas mitzvah. I don't know.
Seems like that makes it chal when it's being part of the mitzvah.
I hear it. Even though there's no mitzvah of agudah. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I think. Okay, let's see. Right. So this next sugi is a real major sugi in Shas. And you're not allowed to take off the berries on Yom Tov. But let's say you did, so then it's kosher. Right? So the ashchor emas, when did they get along the same lines as the previous sugi? When did they get black? Right? We said that the berries have to be black in order to be puzzle. If you're going to say that it became black from yesterday, meaning on Erev Yom Tov, dichui meikar, that's a dichui meikar. Right? And therefore we should say pshat, dichui meikar, deloy havi dichui. Right? It must be that dichui meikar is not a dichui, meaning they were black from Erev Yom Tov. Then you cut them off. Lulav, the ashur b'Yom Tov. So it must be talking about where they became black on Yom Tov. Where you had these berries, they looked green. You said, oh, they're kosher. You wake up in the morning about to go to shul, and you see that the berries turn black. So then that's nira v'nitchu. That means that's a different case. That's like the next step in the case where they were roy, meaning they were kosher, right? Yom Tov came in, by candlelighting Yom Tov night, everything was kosher. Middle of the night, somehow they became not kosher, and then you make them kosher again by cutting it off. Shamas minon nira v'nitcha chayzer v'nira. Right? If something was kosher, then became not kosher, and then went back to being kosher, then it must be that works. The Gemara says, loy loylam da'ashur meikara. Really, it's talking about where it was black from before. Dichui meikara, deloy havi dichui. And dichui meikara is not a dichui tifshet mina. Right? You can learn this. Aval nira v'nidche chayz v'nira loy tifshet. Meaning, so the Gemara is saying, everybody, can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay, good, because my screen crashed. Yes, okay.
Yeah,
good for that. So,
your picture's
again,
frozen, but we hear you.
okay, good. So I'm sort of happy about that because at least now I calling was Kedai. Yeah, so that where it was black from the beginning. And we'd rather you say pshat that dichui meikara is not a dichui, meaning since it was, even though it was pasal on erev Yom Tov, it's not a dichui and it can become kosher. But that we don't want to say, that it was roy and then it became pasal and then it became kosher again. That we don't want to do. Okay, Tana Rabbanan. Yeah, I'm sorry. That was not the main. This is the next sugya. Is the main sugya. Tana Rabbanan. Even if the first, it wasn't so easy. This first part of that, but here it's very important. This is a very important sugya for all those that come into video cameras, Aaron Kaplan, video cameras on your house and all that type of stuff. Opening refrigerator lights. Refrigerator door and the light.
I was going to tell you to post a little bit this week about Ring because people have been asking a lot.
About what?
The Ring cameras for Shabbos.
The Ring, yeah. Problem is, it's such a hot button topic now, no pun intended, that I don't know. It's you can't do it in one text. That's the problem.
To do a few segments, but people want to know what to do.
If you wear a lace shaitel, then you're allowed to leave the ring on.
Pirates, quiet.
Or do a little video about it and post it on your website.
I hear. Okay, I'll see. Okay, it's a good idea. Okay.
Yeah, through a ring camera.
Okay, so Mamish, so this is part of the sugya. Let's see. Tanaraban, it's not a hard sugya. Ein memayitin b'Yom Tov. You're not allowed to take the berries off on Yom Tov. Right? Mishum Rebbe Eliezer, Rav Shimon Amru memayitin. You are allowed to take it off on Yom Tov. Yeah, which means that you're being misaken. So the Gemara says, "Welcome misaken mana b'Yom Tov." You're fixing something on Yom Tov, meaning these hadasim that have berries on them are not kosher. Right? Then you go cut off the berries, you're making them kosher. So are you fixing on Yom Tov? So Rav Ashi, talking about where he picked off the berries not to fix the hadas, right? He picked off the berries in order to eat it. So therefore what? And the Rav Elazar, Rav Shimon, if you do something unintentional on Yom Tov and Shabbos, then it's mutter. Meaning, so let's just understand this. Could I spend some time on this? You're taking off the berries. If you're taking off the berries on Yom Tov because you want to fix the hadas, then that's an isser. You're fixing, right? If you're taking off the berries because you want to eat the berries, and what's the consequence of that? It happens to be that you're making the hadas kosher, then that's called davar she'eina mischavin. You did something that there's no kavanah, and therefore he holds, like Reb Shimon, who says that davar she'eina mischavin is mutter. Right?
What?
So again, what are you saying, Rabbi?
Why don't you say Esadai Chaloisa? Say, I need to do mitzvah of the Daled Minim now. I don't have hadasim. So I'm over tikkun, but I can do a mitzvah.
Yeah, but like you said yesterday, it's not the idna. It's not at the same time.
Well, he takes it off. He takes them off while he's holding it.
Why not? It's on Yom Tov. Why isn't that at the
holding
time
all
of the
the
mitzvah?
minim?
Because when you're cutting off the berries, you're not being mekayim the mitzvah.
Yeah, I'm holding the Daled Minim, and I'm pulling the berries as I'm holding the Daled Minim.
I hear. If you do it that way, okay, maybe if you're holding it, I guess theoretically you can get that. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know how you say it. I would think that it'd be hard to get that, but I hear what you're saying. But either way, what the Gemara is saying is that if you do something unintentional, according to this sheet, according to Reb Shimon, who we do paskin like, it's mutter. So basically, if you're walking into your house on Shabbos and it's going to set off a video camera, that's an unintended consequence, right? because
Even though you
wanna
know it's
walk
going to
into your
happen. Even though you know it's going to happen.
Why is
so
not
what's
an psik ratio?
Oh, so that's going to be the next step. But right now, if we stop right now with the Gemara, let's compare taking off the berries to walking into your house. Right? So if you're taking off the berries in order to fix, if you're walking in your house in order to be videoed, so then that would be usher, according to all. Right? But if you're just walking into your house because you want to walk into your house and it happens to video you, that's Eina Mischaven. And therefore,
you knew it
according
was
to
going
that,
to happen.
what do you say?
You knew it was going to happen. What do you mean that wasn't your intention? But you knew it was going to
That's
happen.
1 second. Right, so that's the next kasha. So let's see. Right back in the Gemara. They agree where if you cut off the chicken's head, it won't die. That's really the way to say. Whenever anybody say psik reisha, it means cut off the head, which means if somebody wants to cut off a chicken's head on Shabbos afternoon for his kid to play with, right? So he's not looking for the chicken to die. He just wants the chicken head, right? So he wants the chicken head. So he's not trying to do malacha, but what an unintended consequence is, and it's an automatic, is that this is going to die. So he's doing a malacha, right? So the Gemara says that Abai and Rava both agree, even though you don't intend to kill the chicken, but since it's an automatic, so therefore it's considered mischaven and it's also. So then, even though you plan on eating the berries, that's the only reason why you're taking off the berries. That's an automatic, and therefore it should be usher. And then according to this, the same thing. Walking into your house and there's video cameras on, that's an automatic. If it's an automatic, then it's not allowed. So the Gemara answers, this is a major tumult from these 5 words. It's unbelievable how much halacha gets learned out of these next 5 words. And here we're talking about the Islay Hashana Achriti. It's talking about where he has other hadasim that are kosher in his house. Okay? Now there's different pshatim in this. Let's go with the most simple pshat and then what the psak that comes out of that pshat is. Since he has other hadasim in the house, he could care less to make these hadasim kosher. Meaning, yes, it's a psik ratio and it's an automatic that when he takes these berries to eat it, he's automatically making this hadas kosher. But he could care less because he has other hadasim that are kosher. So since he could care less, therefore it's a psik ratio, what we call deloi nichale. Yes, it's an automatic, but he could care less about it. Since he could care less about it, it's mutter. That's the way the Aruch, the Sefer Aruch, learns pshat in this Gemara, and therefore the Sefer Aruch holds that a psik ratio deloi nichale on Shabbos is allowed, which almost all poskim disagree with him and say that it's not allowed, right? They disagree. Now, how did they learn pshat in this Gemara? There's other pshatim how to learn in this Gemara exactly what the Gemara means.
Well, how could you say the
Right?
loy nichale? I couldn't say he doesn't need it, but it's still nichale.
No, it's not. He's not. Why not?
Because he can use it now. It's kosher. It's not bad for him. I understand he can go home and change it out.
It doesn't have to be toiv to him. It just says he doesn't have to. He doesn't particularly care. I mean, there's like there's nichale. It's a big thing.
The video camera,
right?
You have 35 bottles. Boxes.
The
You
video
get
camera, you care.
bottles of milk. That's nichale or loy nichale. The same thing. You don't care about it. It's not nichale just because it's nice that I have another bottle of milk. I don't care.
Right, but here's the problem. Here's the problem, though. When you walk into your house and you're being videoed, is that nichale or loy nichale?
Does it depend on how photogenic the person is?
I mean, you're not interested in videoing yourself.
Sure you are. But you're very happy that your video camera's on. If I walk into your house or I walk into a yeshiva, nobody's interested in being videoed, right? But if I walk as a guest to your house, I'm not interested in being videoed. When you walk into your house, you are interested in you're very happy that camera's on, right? When this guy cuts off the berries on Shabbos, he doesn't care. He has kosher hadasim. He doesn't care to have kosher hadasim. He already has another set, right? When I walk into your house, I don't care. I'm not happy with being videoed, but you are happy, right? So that's all part of the sugya here. And anyways, we don't really pass them like this aruch. So that's where the same thing with the opening the refrigerator door. You happy with the light on? You're not happy with the light on. Right? If you're not happy, it makes it much more lenient. If you are happy, then it makes it much more chomer. Yeah, so that's basically it. The sugya starts from this whole thing. Yeah. Okay, let's see. It's a little late, so let's see. So that's the end of that little sugya. David, this is what we were talking about. If your agud gets untied on Yom Tov, right? Your knot gets untied on Yom Tov. So what you do is you should tie it like the way they tied vegetables, which is basically they just took a string and went around and around and around the vegetables until it held tight and there's no knot. So then the Gemara says, "V'amai, why do you have to do that? La'an ve'manav, use a bow. Take a bow. You don't have to make it into a permanent knot. Make a bow." So Gemara says, "Amari Rabbi Yehuda." This is going to Rabbi Yehuda. The Amar Aniva Kshira Ma'al. He holds that a bow is a knot. So doing a bow is no good. The Gemara says, "Rabbi Yehuda Eged Ma'al Yisabay." So if it's Rabbi Yehuda, so then what does it help you to put it around and around? We said before on Amud Aleph, Rabbi Yehuda requires Eged. Right? So Mimanashach, you can't have it both ways. If is it like Rabbi Yehuda, it's not like Rabbi Yehuda. So Gemara answers, no, we are going to have it both ways. He holds like Rabbi Yehuda in one case, and he says that making a bow is not allowed, so therefore you have to wrap it around and around and around. And he disagrees with him in one place that Rabbi Yehuda holds that you have to make a knot, and he holds no, that you only make it for Zekeli Maveh like the Rabbanon. Right? So therefore he holds like him and he doesn't hold like him. So that's the end of that sugya. Yeah, so when we said already that the mitzvah, the minig is that we use the kosher cloth, that's enough, that's considered a knot, and that would be enough. Okay.
If your tzitzis come untied and your talus cut and your talus gadol on Shabbos, are you allowed to tighten it?
No, you are not allowed to. No, you cannot tighten it.
So it's the same reason?
What?
Huh? It's the same time?
Same reason. Well, no, it's a permanent knot. That's a permanent knot.
Well, it's
what if you're doing it for OCD purposes and nothing to do with the knots?
When to do what?
You're doing it because you have OCD. Meaning you could care less whether you're wearing tzitzis. You just know that it's going to make you crazy that it's halfway undone the knot.
If it's halfway undone, I think just to tighten it, I guess it would depend. How tight it's going to stay. If it's not going to stay tight, no.
I guess if it's constantly getting undone, then you know it's not a real knot.
Yeah, so then I think it would be okay. Yeah. So right there? Are they starting Myra now? Yeah. All right. So good enough.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Lulav.